Please record permission from the meeting host. Okay,
Oh, you have permission, absolutely.
I guess.
Yes. It says
Please
recording on my end.
request, well, please request permission. What does that mean?
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
What is this? Hold on, wait a minute. Let me see. Stop video, mute video, pin video, rename video, mute. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
So what is there anything that says that the recording is on? Because the button
in the top left on mine, it says recording right now.
Well, but I mean, I hit my record button.
Yeah, so it should be recording.
But it doesn't. But there's no. What do you call it? There's no
indication. Like there's nothing.
Indication that it's recording. Well, as long as you're recording.
Yeah,
I hit it, so it must be recording.
Yeah, I'll send it straight over to you.
Okay, cool.
And don't worry, I'll chop this little bit up. You don't have to worry about that.
All right, cool.
All right, so we'll get started. So I'd like to welcome everybody back to the Derek the Douches podcast. I apologize for the name for some of you who find it distasteful, but let's get started. Today I have a very special guest with me. His name is Larry Hankin, and for some of you who don't know, he's been on many sitcoms such as Seinfeld, such as Friends. He's been in over 100+ movies. He's got his degree, I believe, from Syracuse. Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Syracuse University.
Syracuse. So what was your graduating class on that?
Industrial design.
Really?
Yeah, I want to go to art school. My parents wouldn't pay for art school. So I signed up for industrial design because they had an art school there and it was designing. So it was close to art. So I just signed up. I didn't know what I was getting into. I mean, I had no idea. I mean, I sort of knew what industrial design was, but I had no idea about the math and the engineering and stuff. I had no idea.
I'm a CNC machinist. I'm terrible at math, so it makes no sense. I mean, we're going to know.
Well, it made no sense to me either, but there I was. And, you know, once I get into something, I just do it as best I can. I mean, I don't have any, or else I get out. I mean, I don't put up with crap. I can't.
I've noticed that. That's a good thing, though. You stand for what you believe. You know, you got
to. Yeah. Sometimes against my own will. I'm for something that I know. This is going to be trouble, man. But okay.
That's always the case sometimes. You know. But I remember speaking with you on the phone, and we were talking about some of the earlier things that you've done in your career. Some of the things that aren't talked about all the time. And I noticed that you have a dossier out, I believe. And what was the name of that book that you put out? It was like a funny kind of book.
Oh, it's called The Loopholes Dossier. I haven't checked up on it in about a year. It's called The Loopholes Dossier. It's kind of quirky. The first third is great. It's 7 fables in the life of Sometimes Jones. It's called The 7 Fables of Sometimes Jones. And they're just fables with kind of satirical morals. They're satirical fables. They're funny fables. They're satires of what fables are, but I just modernized them. I put them in present day. And the 7 fables are the 7 different stages of Sometimes Jones' life. The first one is when he runs away from his family at the age of 15 and becomes the best pickpocket in San Francisco at the age of 15, and what that leads to. And then he picks the pocket of the president of the United States, and he gets a magic credit card in a wallet, and that leads to all kinds of misadventures and it's just adventures. But yeah, he learns a couple of lessons. The trick about, I guess, Sometimes Jones is for every lesson he learns, he forgets one.
Oh, all right. He's always going back to square one.
No, he just, he doesn't know where he can. He doesn't build. He, what do you call it? It's not this way. He lives this way.
Oh, vertically, yes.
He learns what he has to learn, but he doesn't but and then he forgets what he learned because this is a new situation. So
Yeah.
he's always making up for lost ground in a way. And then finally, at the end, it ends at the age of. He goes through girlfriends. He goes through a marriage. He goes through a divorce. He goes through breaking up. He goes through uh, buying life insurance. He goes through uh, just every kind of life situation. In 7 stages. At the age of, I think it's 55, he finally ends up in a monastery on the top mountain in Tibet.
Oh wow.
And he's still, he's a, I guess he's a born fuck up,
So where do you? I know a lot about that. You'd be surprised. Where do you come up with the ideas for something like this? Because it seems
for me, from what happens to me.
Yeah, it seems
all
like that.
me.
It does.
Well, the whole point of writing, to me anyway, is to get it out of your head. That's just as simple as that. Just whatever is in your head, just get it out of there.
Yeah.
Put it down, and then if you can, some people get it out of there by pulling down statues. Other people get it out by putting it down on paper. Some people put it down in prose and then poetry. Some people get it out by hurting people. It just get it out of there.
That's sad. It is sad.
So and then that's only a part of it.
Well, I remember watching one of the shorts. I'm sorry. I remember watching one of your shorts. It was really cool because sometimes Jones pickpocketed an angel, and it was
that's the one that's the one I was talking about.
Yeah, the 2-for-1 card.
Yeah, the 2-for-1.
I like that one.
Yeah, so that's the first one. That's the one where he runs away.
Yeah.
So I've always dreamed. Where'd that story come from? At some point, you get so frustrated. You get, I don't know. This is my own idea of how psychology works, but first of all, you got to go down, and you just keep writing, and each time you write more and more, it's like an exercise. It's like exercising a muscle.
Yep.
The more you exercise it, the bigger it gets.
Absolutely.
The stronger it gets.
Yeah.
Well, the more you write, it's not the writing that gets better. It's the opening of the channel into your subconscious.
Gotcha.
By writing. That's what you're doing. By writing, you're opening your subconscious. And the more you clear out that coal bin of subconsciousness, that all that bullshit all the nightmares, which nightmares are not real.
Okay.
But your subconscious keeps them.
Yeah.
It stores them.
They do.
That's what it does.
Remember the bad.
So if you can clear out get those nightmares that are not real out onto the page, they do relate to your daily life.
Yes.
The nightmares relate.
Yes.
Well, if you get them out on the page, you got a good story, and you cleaned out the bin, and you can think faster and better. So the more you write, the more you. But if you're writing just claptrap, and it doesn't. You got to get serious about it. Poetry is the best way to do it. Music is also another clearinghouse for just getting a flow. Flow is the whole point.
Now aren't you a musician yourself too? When you say that?
Well, I'm learning music. I found that in my golden years, I found that music. I've always been into. I've tried to listen to the lyrics, but I never really listened to the music. And then the other day, I had an insight into how musicians listen to music, and it just blew my mind because that's what I've been trying to do, and he cleared it out. So he said, I showed some songs and music that I had written to an actual record producer, young guy, but a friend of mine. So he listened to it, and he was very kind. So I
can tell you're being very humble there.
So I appreciated that. But he did say one thing. He said, well, I wrote a protest song. I wrote a love song. So he said, well, that's a love. He said, that's a protest song, right? well, if you have to ask, man. But then he said, and work on the strumming, not on the, on the finger picking. He said, but listen to your thumb.
Okay.
I go, now listen. So, and that was it. And that was the epiphany right there. Because I played guitar, I finger picked. I can do it. I mean, but this guy's a professional record producer.
Yeah.
He's hanging out with Bob Dylan, these
Yeah.
people, So, I mean, this guy is listening.
Yep.
I was just, hey, what do you think?
Exactly.
He doesn't listen like that. But so what I did was I played a guitar, I strummed, I played, and I sang, and I'm trying to get my lyrics out. I'm trying to sing on key. I'm trying to do all the right things. And this guy picks out my thumb, what my thumb was doing. I'm trying to get these 4 fingers to hit the right thing. And he's listening to my thumb.
Yeah.
I'm singing, I'm doing lyrics, my voice is coming out. He's listening to my thumb. And I thought, holy cow. So I listened to my thumb. I played it again after he told me this on the phone. And I listened to it. My thumb was working out. My thumb was right on. My thumb was doing the right, it was doing the bass line. It was doom, 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 doom. I mean, not that fast, but it was working. And he heard it. And so, to be kind, and he picked out the best thing that I was doing. But so that turned me onto my ears and how close I should be listening. If I wanted to be a musician, then you got to listen, and you got to listen to music, and you got to listen to all. I mean, he breaks down. If he's listening to a band, he's also listening to the guitar and the guitar riff,
and bass,
and he's got it all separated. And to me, it's just a wall of sound, as we used to say in the 60s.
I like that.
So I was listening to a wall of sound, and he's listening to every string. And I thought, wow, okay, so I just learned something. He didn't even know he was teaching me something.
Well,
so yeah.
Well, what that tells me though is that you're still working on new things. So, I'm
working on everything all the time.
So, is there anything new, particular that you'd want to point out that you're working on, or anything that you'd want to talk about or discuss?
Oh well, there's the 2 things. Yeah.
I'd love to hear about them.
One is my website. I just opened up a website. I'm trying to go into business. I'm trying to be a businthing.
All right. So what's the
website? The last bastion of an artist. I want to be a businessman. So
I think that's every American.
I want to sell my stuff, so I want to be a business. So I started a website, but it's a business. I'm selling my paint. See those paintings?
I was just gonna say. Notice these paintings in the background. Literally.
Yeah.
You did those?
There's one. The best one is right up here. But
and you did those yourself?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Those 2 are that's called Hood in the Hood.
I like that one.
And actually the long title. Let me get the long title. I've forgotten it already, but it's Hood in the Hood in the Hood. That's what that is.
Oh, I get it. It's a hoodie in the hood.
Hood in the hood. It's a hood, a hoodie in the hood. Okay. Anyway, so it's kind of cool. I like it.
I like that.
So I'm making a T-shirt out of that.
No,
and
I'd
then
buy that.
it'll be on a T-shirt. And this one is a kind of a protest thing. It's a businessman going sure, and then the people have splattered paint on it.
Nice.
So
that's good.
and then the other ones are. I should have little things, but anyway. So there's about 44 of them up on the website. It's called the reallarryhankin.com. There's about 44 paintings. Now, they're not T-shirts yet. Everything is going to be a T-shirt, all those 44. They're not all protests. They're not all like that.
So people that might be interested can find it on the reallarryhankin.com?
Reallarryhankin.com. Now, they're going up, and they're going to be, so the 44 paintings, they're prints. They're really prints.
Okay.
So that's how the size they should be. They're about 3x4 is the smallest, really. But you can get them smaller. But that's the way I've designed them, is that big. So all of them are going to be T-shirts. They're not T-shirts yet, but They will be. And there'll be 44 of them. And they're all not protests. They're all portraits and
Hmm.
women and
I've
men.
seen a
And
couple of them. I've seen like you do really good work. Like the shadings of your paintings as well. You do really well. Like they're
I
very
just love
interesting.
doing it, man. It just gets because I'm typing all the time and I need color.
You need
I
you need
just
creation.
wash
You're creative.
wash my eyes.
Yeah, you're left brain heavy. That's what it is. You're very creative.
Yeah. I'm OCD. I'm ADHD, and I'm dyslexic. So,
But it helps. But look what it's done for
oh
you.
yeah,
It doesn't seem like it's held you back. You know.
oh yeah, it does because socially I'm just a
Oh.
terror. I'll tell you what you don't want to hear.
No,
I mean,
I'd
just
say
socially. I mean, I have no.
filter.
No, yeah,
None.
exactly. I have no
That's
filter.
me.
I just so some people get very upset
Upset.
at
Yeah,
my
same here.
social discourse, my
Hence,
banter.
hence the podcast name Derek the Douche. That's why I have that.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that's fine, man. You
Because
know, so
people they get
welcome to the
upset.
club,
I
or me,
know, I
welcome
know.
to your club.
Well, no, I'm in your club. That's fine with me. You can be the leader. I'll be the follower. I'm fine.
No, that's there's the danger right there. Don't follow leaders. Watch the parking meters. You know, just
All right, it's a good point. It's a good point. So you said there was two things you wanted to talk about. So there was one of them. What was
there was one of them, and the other one is the screenplay that I just finished that I'm working on. Man, it's the first time I've ever worked hard on anything. I walk away from hard work. I don't. I just like I like flow. I just like
Yeah,
flow, man. And
yeah.
if it's not flowing, forget it. So I've walked out on a lot of actually very great things that I should have stayed and
I'm
got
gonna
into it.
circle. I want to circle back to that. Actually, that's a good question to ask you later. But what is this new project about that you're working on?
Well, that's
If you can talk
interesting.
about it.
I just spoke to a big time reader for Quentin Tarantino. She's a
Ooh,
big maka, you know, in Hollywood.
all right.
And she's also a producer, but she checks his screenplays, and she gives lectures and stuff. So I was talking to her on the phone. I got access. Access is important in Hollywood. It's important everywhere.
It is. Who you
That's the
know is
third
important.
the third leg of the stool of the art stool: art, business, and access.
Okay. All right.
Sit down and do it. So she said, you know, there's a lot of different stories in here. So my only defense was, well, I'm eclectic. I take from various. I mean, because I started out, I wanted to write a horror movie, like a vampire movie.
All right.
So I had that in mind, but so I did. And when I say this is the first time I've ever worked hard on anything, this is the first time I've ever researched anything or done research. I just usually write off the top of my head. I'm an
Yes.
improviser. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a really good improviser. I'm a born improviser. I'm a born talker. In other words, this isn't planned. I'm just talking. Well, you
Yeah.
put me on a stage, I'm just as loose,
Yeah.
you know, but in a confined, you know, for the scene and the blah, blah, blah. But okay, I can do that. But if you told me, you know, if you wrapped out the scene to me before we went on stage to improvise it, if you say, hey, well, I'm going to do this, you're going to do that, you
Yeah.
know, you didn't write it there. I get out there, I'd be flabbergasted. I would be dumbfounded.
Yeah.
I would just be, I couldn't speak.
But you're good with like an outline. Like give you an outline, you kind of get there.
Not even an outline. It's just because when you do a real improv, and that's what we were doing,
That's
and that's
true.
what
There
I
is
was
no
trained to
outline.
do, is the audience calls, they tell you who you are. You have they say, all right, you're a baker and you're a bus driver. And then they tell you where you are. You know,
Yeah.
oh, you're in an egg noodle factory. And okay, I'm a bus driver. And then they tell you, they give you a topic. You know, picking your nose. Okay. And then you got to go. And then you got to do a scene about a bus driver picking his nose with whoever you are, you know,
Yeah.
and you do it. And, you know, and you're in an egg noodle factory. And you just do it because it's all there.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
that's the whole thing. It's all there already.
Yeah.
you have to do is relax enough to just flow, let it flow. I remember a rapper was trying to teach me how to rap, and I couldn't do it, man. He just said, "No, just talk, just talk." We were driving,
Yeah.
you know, on this long, long country road. We were going to some production location.
Yeah.
Long country. So we had nothing to talk about. So he started to rap, you know, bop, 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 bop. And I go, wow, man, that's cool, man. You just make that up? He goes, yeah, just, you know, blah, blah, blah. So he said, you got it. It's your turn. Man, it's fear. It's fear
Yes.
of being wrong,
Yep.
of saying the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's, you know, you're dead.
Yeah. And you know what?
Fear kills
you've never
everything.
done that before, so of course you're not
Well,
gonna.
it doesn't matter that you've never done it. I've never done this conversation. I'm totally
That's true.
relaxed. I'm talking to you.
True.
It's fear kills everything.
All right.
And the more and the less fear, and that's why you are clean out the coal bin, you know, clean out your subconscious, because it keeps fear. Fear is what it loves to keep. Your subconscious loves fear.
It does.
Just oh yeah, no, don't let it go. But if you do it, it all comes, because that's a stop. It's like a cork. It's like a cork. So when I write, I try to loosen that cork up, and sometimes it flows out, you know, and then the story is telling you, the characters are telling, and sometimes you have to do research. And so it's this screenplay that I'm writing right now. The title, well, I can't tell you the title. It's a good title. I don't want to waste it.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, I started to write because I had a good idea, you know. Well. And it was about a vampire, but I had to have a twist. That's one of the first things I found in research is, if you're going to write a horror nowadays, in the old days, you just wrote the same thing over and over again. You know, if you wrote a horror story and it was a success, I would just change the names and the location. I'd write the same story.
Yeah. Hollywood.
And then, you know, put different people in it, and, you know, and then they're all formula. Well, now that's done, and my learning scroll is back in the 60s and the 70s, and that's dead now. All those formulas are dead. So I had to learn new stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of so. Anyway, it's very hard, and what I have in there is I have a gang, a couple, a vampire, thrills, surprises. And she said, wow, you're all over the map. You got every kind of story. You have every genre.
Yeah.
You got every kind of movie genre in here. I said, well, I'm eclectic, you know, like Picasso, like Dylan. You know, you just pull everything, you throw it into, you know, flashing images. But she liked it. She said she thought it was really good. But she said, well, you got to more reality to your characters, which she's right on. You know, a couple of the characters in the gang were kind of just, you know, oh, gang, oh, here, you know, you're, you know, just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And she said, no, you got to go deeper. They got to be like individual gang members. Each person has got to be,
have their own background, have their own story.
Right. Just, you know, and I never did that. And that is standard homework for a screenwriter. I never knew that.
No, no.
If you have 20, well, let's go, okay, 10. If you have 10 major characters, you know, like 2 or 3 stars, and then 7 maybe, you know, other co-stars, whatever. You have to do a background biography of every one of those characters. That's a lot of work, man. That's not creativity. That's reading and taking notes and shit.
And you got to cram it all into like a 2-hour movie, because people's attention spans nowadays too, they complain.
Well, but it doesn't. No, the story can. I mean, I watched the movie. Maybe it was Invisible, about an invisible guy. He got an invisible suit. It was a big hit. It was a couple of months ago.
Was it
up
called
for an Academy Award?
The Invisible Man? That's the
No, that's way back. No, this I'm talking about a couple of months ago, like about 6 months ago. It was up for an Academy Award for this year. But anyway, it was about a guy, a very modern story, takes place today. about a scientist who invents an invisibility suit. He can put it on and become invisible. And the guy, whoever wrote it, I'm sure he was into science way before he started writing
Oh,
screenplays,
absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
he had worked out the scientific building blocks of making an invisible suit. I mean, obviously you can't make an invisible
Yeah, yeah.
suit, but he convinced me and the
Yes.
rest of the audience that, oh, right, you can put that on and you're invisible. That,
Yeah.
you know, and it was up to speed on sci-fi today.
Yeah. He did
I
it.
thought
He did
that
enough
was really cool.
research. Yeah. He
Yeah,
did
I
enough
mean, it was really
research to
cool
make it
because,
believable. Yeah.
I mean, for you to convince me, Larry Hankin, that you're going to put on an invisible suit and become invisible, and I'm going to watch you for 2 hours, because
Yeah.
that's bullshit.
Yeah,
And he
exactly.
did it.
And he
And
did
I
it.
thought, cool. That's research. You know,
That's
that
interesting, though,
he,
the way that you view that, because that says that you actually view movies not only for the story, but you're looking for like the intricacies in between. Like, did they do this right? Did they get that right? Which is really
I'm
good,
trying to
especially in
learn how to
the,
write a
yeah,
screenplay. Now, to your point, most of that movie, whether psychologically or in reality to me, most of that movie was in long masters, because what he tried to do was leave the camera linger for fear, to let you, in other words, where I know something's coming, but where is it coming from? And he would just hang or very slowly push in on something. And you know,
uh,
I'm going to be scared, and somewhere I'm going to be scared, and it's just coming in closer and closer. Boom, boom. And the whole movie was like that, you know.
hey,
So no, the attention span of the audience depends on your skill in storytelling,
true.
in cinema or in verbal,
That's true.
oral
Yeah, because you can watch a
presentation.
3-hour movie and it feels like it's 10 minutes, per se. You know what I mean? And then you're right. You
Yeah,
watch
and
the
then
background.
some have a lot of cuts, and it's,
Yeah.
you know, forever.
Yep.
So yeah, it's not attention span, it's your ability to tell a story. I mean,
All right.
people, look, it's
Yeah.
in our DNA. We are storytelling,
Yeah.
sentient beings.
Yes,
I
we
mean,
are.
that's part of us.
Yeah.
That's how we pass on information
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, even the Indians used to do that. That's one of their main things.
Oh yeah,
Storytelling.
lore.
Yeah,
That's
lore.
important, man.
And every
So,
culture has it too. Not just, every culture in the world has it. And it's all
oh
started off
yeah,
with storytelling. And I feel like that's where a lot of our monsters have come from, is from storytelling. We pull a lot of them from lore, I feel like. So
oh yeah, and from your subconscious, from the
yeah.
Kobin.
Yeah.
Your monsters, you know. And also it's a teaching mechanism, you know. Don't go in the woods because of the snakes, but they tell you there's a big furry monster in there.
Yeah.
So you're safe from the snakes because you don't want to go in because of the
In there
monster.
because of the monsters.
But you
Exactly.
stay from this. Yeah, so those are the two kind of things that I'm interested in, as you can probably tell from hearing me talk about it.
Absolutely.
But and then there's other things I'm trying to work on, like getting enough exercise instead of sitting at a typewriter all day.
Yep.
So
Yep.
getting out, and with this COVID thing, geez,
Oh, you can't go anywhere right
Louise.
now. You can't. It's everywhere. Well, for the most part, where I am, everywhere is shut. Everywhere was shut down up until like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Couldn't go to a park. You couldn't go to the beach. You
Where
couldn't
do
go to a
where do you live?
restaurant. I live
Rhode
in Rhode
Island?
Island right now. I mean,
Rhode Island.
it's opened up like I think about a month ago, technically. I was just saying though, for instance, like for a long period of time, you weren't able to go to a beach, a restaurant, anywhere really.
Well, I stopped going a long time ago, man.
Yeah.
I just used my sense
Mm,
of survival, man. I don't
exactly.
understand these people that go to indoor restaurants. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. It's the most, that's so American. And I use it as a pejorative. That is an American thing. Americans are really not only weird, they're just, I don't know, stupid,
Prideful.
gun
Very
crazy.
prideful. That's our problem. Too much pride.
Prideful
Yeah.
is, prideful is being
Understatement?
very nice, very nice, very nice.
Very nice way to put
I
it.
appreciate your kindness and your diplomacy.
Yes. I try to be a little nice.
Well, yeah. See, that's the difference between you and me.
A little
There
bit.
you
Just
go.
a little. I gotta be a little nice to everybody.
Well,
But-
yeah. I mean, because I'm your guest. I see.
Well, no.
It's
Well, Yeah, I've actually, it's funny you say that. I've always had an admiration for all movies that I've seen. I specifically went, as soon as I found out you were my guest, I specifically went and watched Escape from Alcatraz because I love that premise of a movie. And I've
Oh
always
yeah.
liked that character Charlie Butts. And I think I actually spoke with you about this on the phone. I was always curious about your character because
Oh right. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, because the whole time, the whole movie, you're with the escape plan. You're ready to go. You're knocking down everything you need to knock down. You're taking apart your cell. Fine. And then it comes time to escape, and it seems like your character gets cold feet. But then
Right.
you get the courage to go, but then you can't reach the thing that you're jumping up to grab, the grit, right? So I'm like, oh man, that I felt bad because if you watch the other characters when they cut back to the Clint Eastwood characters and all that, they're waiting for you, like they want you to come. Like you could see that they're hesitant to even leave you at first. So like I always wondered like what was up with your character? Like why didn't he leave?
Well, it's an interesting question because I had the same question. Not, I had a different question. But the answer is going to be the same. Here's what happened. As an actor, you pick up stuff and you learn. And one of the things I picked up and learned along the way of making movies and asking questions and stuff was one of the things about acting is the actor protects his character. The character is always righteous. Even when he's wrong, he's doing it because he thinks this is the right thing to do. If I'm going to murder you, and I'm really going to murder you, and I do murder you,
Mhm.
then I acted because I thought I had to murder you. That this, for me, for my self-preservation, it behooves me to murder you. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with me. The cops will come and you're going to talk to them. Bang.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have to protect that if I'm going to play the character murderer. I have to start thinking in that way that no, it's okay to kill, and I got to kill this guy because the cops will catch me, and then I don't want to go to jail.
Mhm.
So that if I don't want to go to jail, this guy's got to die. It's a choice, and the best choice is either me or him. The best choice is save me. Bang, you're dead. So I was trying to protect my character,
Okay.
going into this movie. And I had a line, and this is going to now clear everything for you, but it just brought up things. I had a line in the middle of the movie talking to Clint Eastwood where I say, I don't want to go. And he says, why? And I say, I can't swim.
Oh my God, I do remember that. And then I think he brings
No,
up the right.
no, I
No,
never said it.
no.
Never said it. But I was trying to protect my character. So I went to the director and I said, hey, what happened to I don't want to go. I can't swim. And he said, oh, we're cutting that. And then, what do you mean you're cutting that? Now, all I knew, see, now that's as much information as I knew as a young actor. That's all I know. Protect your character. And there's two things in it. Protect your character. If your character can't swim, that's an important line if you're going to escape from Alcatraz.
Yeah.
So I used that a little. I mean, not much because I wasn't into acting at the time. I was still a stand-up comedian. I was still in the committee and improvising. I didn't care about anything. Give me a thing and I'll just do it. So I wanted to, also it's an important line. It's a character plot line. That's important to the character and what he does in this movie. I can't swim, and you're going to go across a bay. That is going to be eating away at the character. For if I'm going to swim and I can't, I need to swim and I can't swim.
Yeah.
That's going to be eating at me all the way through until I get in the water. It's going to be, Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to go. So when I said that, when I saw that, I went to the director. I said, hey, you cut this line. Now, the second thing I learned was if you have a plot line, whether it's a character plot line or a narrative plot line, they can't cut that because it's important to storytelling, to like people like you say, hey, why isn't that character going?
Yeah.
That you don't want to raise questions in the audience's mind. You want them to pay attention. So I knew that if he cut that line, that scene could be cut, because that was why that scene was there, to inform the audience that one of the characters who's escaping can't swim, which brings up a problem. And that's good for the narrative. Oh, what do we do now? Is he going to talk? Should we kill him? Should we let him go along? Should we convince him to go along? Will we trust him to shut up and not say anything if we leave him behind?
Yeah.
So I said, no, you can't. I'm telling the director this, who I revered, he's Don Siegel, is a white-haired. I have white hair now, but back then I had black hair.
Not then,
he was a grandfather to me.
Yeah.
He has a grandfather to me. So I was looking up to him and I was asking him, please don't cut my scene. That's why I didn't want the line cut. Not so much because of my character, but because I knew if they cut that plot character line, the scene was no longer needed. So
Gotcha.
I pleaded with him. I said, no, you can't cut the scene. He says, why can't I cut the scene? I mean, this young actor who he liked me. He liked me as a kid. I mean, he knew I was naive. So he didn't get mad, but he was, oh, really, Larry? I can't cut the scene? Why? He was like, like talking to a kindergarten child. Oh, really? Why can't, why can't we use blue? So I said, because that's a plot line. I'll lose my scene. Well, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say I'd lose my scene. I said I'd lose my motivation for my character. I lied. I said, no, I've been working on that. That's my backstory. That was my backstory. That's my backstory. I've been working on my character because he couldn't swim. So it's going through his mind all the time. I'm trying to convince him that I'm a real actor. No, so it's going on. It's my backstory. I studied on it. He said, okay, well, maybe we'll just put it in another scene. Don't worry about it. So he just wiped away the fact that we're going to save that scene. The scene's out. And now I'm trying to save the line.
Yeah.
So, she said, well, maybe we'll put it in another scene, which he never did. And I was so nervous about just being around all these people and stuff and remember my own life. They never brought it up again. But that's why Charlie Butts didn't go, even though he cried in the beginning. Now, I think, here's the thing. When that scene came up, when it was time for me to leave, when I kick out the thing, but I don't want to go, and I start to cry. I'm sitting in my scene. It's a big close-up. When that scene came along, I was playing cards. It was going to be shot later in about 2 hours.
Okay.
So, but we all had to load on boats. So it was really an amazing adventure, that movie, because it was all shot on Alcatraz.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, everything. So I spent 3 months on Alcatraz. And what you have to do, is all of the actors, 200 actors, all the the prisoners in the yard and everything, 200. So they had to show up whether or not they were working that day or not, because just to use them for background in different scenes, you just had to be there. So every morning, all the motels in San Francisco along the bay, right inside of the Golden Gate there, all the motels along the shore were booked by 200 actors and crew. So we all lived on the shore. And every morning I think there was a 7 o'clock boat and an 8 o'clock boat, about 10 or 20 boats. Some of them were cruise ships. One of them were fishing boats. Some of them were tourist boats. Would line up, and we would all board these boats. And then there was another. They would come back, and then there was another shift at an hour later, bring them back. And we would, and they would leave us there, and you would have to stay there the whole day. Even if you had a shot or not, you just have to stay there until the boats brought everybody back in 2 shifts at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and 8 o'clock.
It's a long day.
Yeah, so I was playing cards, and my scene was for 2 hours. This scene where I was breaking out of my cell. That's all I knew. Yeah, Charlie Butts breaks out of his cell.
He eventually does it.
So I'm playing cards with the other crew who aren't working, and we're playing poker and blah, blah, blah. And they look up behind me, and there's the director, Don Siegel, standing behind me. Look behind me, and he goes, "What are you doing, Larry?" And I go, I'm playing cards. He said, you know,
Like, what's it look like?
you're breaking out of your cell in 2 hours. Now, he's never said it to me. I've been working there for a while. I mean, he's never come up to me and asked me what I'm doing or told me that I had a scene. You know, yeah, you're up, boom. So I didn't know what's going on. And he goes, you got a scene in 2 hours. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I got it. So I don't have any lines. Yeah, but you got to cry.
Oh,
I do? Yeah. Oh, I didn't say that. He goes, well, you're going to have to cry. Can you cry? And I've got these cards in my hand, and all the crew now is just staring, what's going on? And, you know, we're in the middle of a pot, you know, and it's to me. And I go, well, and he goes, can you cry? And I go, I don't know, I guess so. You guess so? Larry, I need you to cry. I don't think you should be playing cards if you don't know if you can cry or not. I think you better go back into your dressing room and try to see if you can cry. And if you can't cry, you better slap yourself around because I need you to cry. He looks at his watch and goes, in 2 hours.
Oh my.
So now I'm like, whoa. And I go to the guys and I say, look, I gotta go. You know, so they go, yeah, hey, go ahead, you know. So and I split. So I go into my dressing room and I'm trying to cry. I can't cry. So I go looking for, I said, where's the director? Where's the director? And I go, and he goes, oh, he's over there. Can I talk to you, Don? Oh yeah, what's up, Larry? So look, Don, I don't think I can, I don't think my character would cry because I couldn't cry. So well, I'll come at it, you know, from the characters.
You could cry with your eyes though, no? Somehow, right?
Well, I go, I just know he says he wanted me to cry. So he goes, what do you mean? I said, well, my character wouldn't cry in this situation. He says, really? I go, yeah, really. He says, Carol, come over here. Carol is his AD, his assistant. She's about a 23-year-old woman. She comes over. She says, Carol, this is Larry. Larry's an actor. He's playing Charlie Butts. Larry, I want you to tell Carol what you just told me about Charlie. Just tell her. Now, we don't know what's going on. She doesn't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. So I go, well, I just told him that my character wouldn't cry in this scene because my character wouldn't cry. He's not that kind of character because of my backstory. She's standing there, you know, blankly. She says, uh-oh. And then she looks at Don, and Don looks at her, and he says, and I'm standing right here, and he goes, can you tell me what the fuck he's talking about? I got a movie here. And I got all testosterone. And he's pointing at the ceiling. He goes, I got a movie here, and this narrative is full of guys, and these guys are angry, and it's full of testosterone. And he says, look, I need another emotion here. He says, Larry, I need somebody to cry somewhere in this movie. I need another emotion besides anger about here, right here. He's pointing up in the air. Right here, I need somebody right here. He's made an arc in the sky, in the ceiling, in the Alcatraz. He goes, I need somebody to cry right here. What scene is that right here? That's your scene, Larry. That's your scene. You got to cry. You got a half hour. You better slap yourself around, okay? Because I need somebody to cry right there, and that's you. And he says, thank you very much. Thank you, Carol. And he walks away. Now I'm devastated, man. I go back in, so finally I figure I'm going to get fired. Okay, so I can't cry. I go on. He says, well, Larry, you ready? And he's all jaunty jolly. Well, Larry, you ready? Yeah, I mean, that's my go-to thing. Yeah, sure, I'm fired. So in my mind, I was 2 days ahead of him. I was home, you know, watching TV already on the set in Alcatraz.
I know.
Yeah, so I'm going, you've been there. Yeah. So I go, yeah, fine. She's okay, get in your place. And then I didn't even know this. He moves the camera about that far away. From me. If you look at it, it's a choker, man. The camera is right there. And he moves the camera and like this, right? Yeah, like that. And And it was scary, man, because everything's blacked out. You just this lens, this shine, and you're seeing it. She said, "Okay, you ready?" And I said, "Everybody ready? Okay, Larry. Okay, you're gonna cry? Yeah, I'm gonna cry. Okay, and action." It's not happening. It's not happening. He says, "Okay, cut." Very calmly. He says, "Jerry, bring it in." And he comes in with a perfume bottle. You know, with those squeezers on the end of it. You know, those old-fashioned perfume bottles.
Yeah.
He comes in with one of those and he goes up to my face and he goes right off the side. He goes, he sprays this shit on across me. And tears are pouring down. And Don says, "Roll it, action, Larry."
That's
and I'm
perfect.
going, and tears are rolling down my eyes. Just cut. And he goes, "Larry, that was beautiful. Thank you very much." "Thanks, Jerry." Moving on. Boom. It was wintergreen. It was winter. It makes you cry. And
That's great.
He knew all along the entire day.
Wow. He just wanted to see if you could bring yourself there, or if you would.
Well, yes. And also, I asked him about that later. I said, "What the fuck was that, man?" I mean, that was, and he's laughing and he goes, "That's how we made movies in the old days, man. Black and white. Everybody was put on, man."
I like it too, because I bet the stress melted away the second that scene was done too, right? Like all the hostility even was just gone. It was just done with.
I guess. I mean, after that, it was just, I guess. I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously.
Yeah. No, that's great though. That's a great story.
But wow, man. I mean, and then he would be telling me stories about what they would do to each other back in the old days, black and white movies. He directed Lee Marvin and Lee J. Cobb and all the big stars and just on and on. Yeah, I mean, they would, if there was a close-up like that in the old days, they would take off their pants because of the hot lights.
Oh yeah, because it'd be so hot. That makes sense.
Oh, in those days, the lights were incredible, and those guys were wearing suits. This is like in the 50s.
Yeah, they used incandescent bulbs then. Jeez, yeah.
And everybody, even the crew were in suits and ties. So it was sweaty on the set. So they would take off their pants. You know, they would do scenes in their underwear. You know,
and that was normal then. Nowadays, you'd be
you know the scene in and what's the Spielberg movie? With the Nazis and the Jewish
Saving Private Ryan?
No. It was in the old days. It has a famous the cat. Where they opened it up and all these horror things came out.
No, I can't think of it.
Well, anyway, there was a scene where two of the stars were tied, male stars were tied back to back in a chair being tortured by the Nazis. So there were ropes around and they were tied 2 chairs back to back. You know, so they were sitting, I was facing this way, and the other guy was facing that way. So the rope went around both of them, you know, like this. Right? Yeah. So they're tied together, but their hands behind them like this, and they were tied together. So that was a long scene where it was a father and a son, actually, with the stars and the characters. So this was the first time they were ever together. They had been separated and now they were captured. I guess the son was trying to save the father or the father was trying to save the son. So when they came together, they were captured. Now this is the first time they're together, they're tied together. So it's a long scene of a father and son tied together, going to be tortured by the Nazis, and they're getting to know one another. So it's a long scene, you know, it's father and son back to back. It's an interesting scene.
It's a deep scene. It's a deep scene. Yeah.
So he told me, he said, "Well, that scene, they're both in their underwear."
All right. I'm going to look this movie up as soon as we're done here.
So, you know, from here on in, they're in these tweed suits, man. They were, you know, really wool. They were hot suits because they were, you know, old time 1927, 1930. Makes sense. They were scientists and they were tied up.
No, I like that. He did his homework. Yeah.
So from the waist down, though, they were in their underwear. And that was really funny. But, you know, so the crew couldn't stop laughing. They had to keep on breaking. Stop it. Stop. But yeah, that's how it was. Anyway, That's that story.
No, that's great.
But
I'm
that's
happy.
why Charlie Butts. So I think what Don Siegel did was he put the crying scene in because it wasn't written. I mean, the scene of me kicking the thing out
Yeah.
and being left behind, that was in it. But
Mm.
me crying wasn't. And I think he needed the crying to see that to show that I was scared, or people like you would pick up that, hey, why isn't he
Mm.
going? Why,
Yeah.
and he thought, well, I cut that. Now, I still don't know why he cut it out, but I do know that there's a rule about screenwriting where don't tell the audience too much. Don't give them, because if you give them too much information, they can guess the ending of the movie.
Yeah, so do you think he wanted that up in the air for people who are maybe a little bit more perceptive to kind of question that and come up with their own theory or conclude? Because also, too, in my opinion, when you have theory, like when you have a fan base that comes up with different theories in a movie, it continues the fan base, right? Because it gives them
Right.
something to talk about. Like Star Trek, right? You have a huge theory fan base about every Star Trek show. I mean, granted, it has a very big fan base, but take away all those theories, it's not going to be talked about as much, right? I mean, so it
Right,
helps
yeah.
keep it relevant. So it could be
Yeah.
something like that, maybe.
Well, I mean, as a screenwriter and as a director, most directors are pretty good editors of screenplays. On the set, they'll remember Roger Corman was told that the producer, when he was making these really cheap movies, I mean, these really biker movies and stuff, Roger Corman, these B- movies, he would to play drive-ins. The producer came up to him. I think the budget was like $10,000 or something like that. And he goes, "Hey, you're 3 days behind already." He said, "No." He said, this is your third day of shooting." I think it was like a 15-day shooting period.
Yeah.
He said, "This is your first day and you're 3 days behind already." So Roger Corman just took the script, opened it up, took randomly 3 pages together,
and just
ripped them out, and he said, "I'm back on schedule." Boom. Let's go. I mean, directors are cool, man. So directors are the best people in the world.
That's
I mean,
great.
yeah, there's bad ones too.
Who's your
But
favorite to work with?
My favorite is Don Siegel. I mean, I could tell you stories all day about what he told me and what was going on that set. I mean, because he was an expert, because he knew, he wasn't like kidding around. I mean, he made it like with me, that thing about take out the line and we'll lose that scene. There was another scene which he wanted to take, he took out too. And then he let Clint Eastwood direct one scene where he was in it, the scene with the doctor, where there's a scene where they're in the infirmary. There's a prisoner and there's a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's all. But it was a plot line in there. There was a reason for that scene. And he was teaching Clint how to direct on that movie.
That early. Wow.
Oh, even before that, every movie that he directed with Don Siegel, he was teaching him how to make a movie.
Oh, wow.
Clint Eastwood learned how to direct from Don Siegel. That's why he made so many movies with him. That was his teacher.
Makes
so
sense.
in that
The
scene,
similarities in the movies too. It makes sense.
Well, I guess
the style of shooting.
Yeah, and but he's a student. Clint is a student of film. And Lear's Limits. You know Lear's Limits?
Off the top of my head.
There was once a lady from Nantucket. Oh,
I do remember that rhyme. Yes.
Well, that's called Lear's Limits. There's thousands of them, and Clint Eastwood is not only up on that movies. He's up on Lear's Limits. You give him any subject, and he can give you a Lear's limit. At all.
Wow.
He's just amazing.
That comes in handy with acting.
Well, right? I guess, but just as a conversation piece, I mean, it was just amazing.
I'm just plugging my computer, and I apologize.
Oh, okay. God, he's plugging in his computer for people who are.
It's all right. It's all set now.
Directors are really great. My favorite director is him, and I guess there's one more. Larry David is a pretty good director of actors.
Big fan of Larry.
What?
I'm a big fan of Larry. I love Curb Your Enthusiasm. I call it Seinfeld with swears. It's kind of how I refer
Oh,
to it as.
yeah, I guess so. But I mean, he gave me a great direction. I'm trying to think of all the other. Oh, John Huston, man, I worked with John. Yeah, he's great.
What
Oh,
did you
he's
like? What did you? I'm
what?
sorry. What did you like working on better though? Friends or Seinfeld? Like, what did you have more fun working on?
Friends or some Friends? I had no fun on at all, man. It was
None.
awful. Oh,
Ugh.
those
Not the
I mean,
first
there may
person.
be nice people now because I'm a nice
Yeah, yeah.
person now, but back then I wasn't nice, but neither were they. It was just a
But
horror trip.
you get what you give, though. You know. I mean, you can't just be nice.
Exactly. I make no bones about it. It was my fault, but
Huh,
I had a terrible time and they didn't help.
that doesn't sound
They're
like it.
just stuck up. I mean, they were, because I was there before they were friends. I was there
Yeah.
before they went on the air.
Okay.
I was when they shot six pilots. Well, they shot
Mhm.
6 episodes before they went on the air, and they
Yep.
told me, I said, well, which one is going to go on first? Because I was on the third one, but they hadn't gone on the air yet. So they were just actors just like me. They didn't know what was going on.
Mm.
It could hit, it could miss.
Yeah.
So the first one was kind of nice because everybody was friendly and, hey, well, we're going to blah, blah, blah. But then I was on the first year, the second year, and the third year. I was on 5 shows
Yep.
over 3 years. So the first year, nothing. They weren't even on the air. In the second year, they were a big hit. And the third year, they all had houses and they were
Ah,
number one.
the ego
So I
started
saw
kicking
them go from being ordinary people to being stuck up bitches, man.
in.
I mean, whoa.
Yeah, I
And then
believe it.
oh, it's just,
I believe it.
so that's why I just upped my attitude.
I don't blame you. And not for nothing, some of them have their own personal demons that kind of show
Well,
their
we
so,
all have our personal
yeah.
demons, and
Yep.
money makes them come out.
Way
Money
worse.
may freeze the coal
Yeah.
bin from
Look
all
at
those nightmares.
yeah.
Oh, I can do anything I want. I don't have to
Huh?
censor myself now.
I
I'm
mean,
too fucking rich.
look what Matthew Perry did. He literally almost drank himself to death. Like,
Yes.
killed his liver, killed it, murdered it, to the point
Yeah.
where he was like literally the color red on TV, and he lost so much weight because he had a drinking issue, and that's most likely due to his having a big ego and being viewed and
Yeah,
being
well, I'm going to have to eat
over.
crow because I'm on the big reunion in August. So I
Really?
doubt.
Hey, that would be a 6th episode. How about that?
What? What do
Right?
you
You
mean?
said you're doing a reunion show?
Oh, no, it's not an episode though.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a
I was gonna say it'd be a
reunion.
6th episode.
No, it's not a show.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it's like a talk thing. It's like an Academy Award kind
Oh,
of
okay.
thing.
Okay, I got you.
Hey, what did you do? And then they reminisce and they talk about backstage. They talk about what I'm talking about to you. In other words,
Yeah.
stories about. So that's all it is. But I'm on it.
That's
So
cool.
I'll be on it. So I'm gonna have to eat crow because I'm gonna have to be very nice because I insulted a lot of people. I
That's
really
all right.
did.
That's all right.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
no,
a
I'm
pass.
not.
That's a pass.
But I understand what I'm going into, and I know
Yeah.
it's partly my fault.
Well, that's
So
all
I
right.
have
Well,
to,
remember, you're a
be
comedian. You're
nice.
just getting laughs, and if you were just testing new material, tell them. That's what I would say.
No. I'm
Try
gonna
new
just
material,
go
out, guys.
in
Relax.
and ignore the whole thing, and just go in and
Yeah.
how you doing?
Yeah.
Whoever that was, I don't know him either.
Yeah.
It's,
That was years ago. Yeah. So
that
you
was
liked working on Seinfeld a lot, though.
Seinfeld. No,
Yeah, Seinfeld.
here's the thing. All famous sitcom, any kind of recurring, any kind of episodic television,
Mm-hmm.
any kind of group episodic television, whether they're hour cop shows, which I've been on, or half-hour sitcoms.
Mm-hmm.
If you're up there on the charts, the top 10, and I've been on a lot of them, all companies, all the stars, the headliners, all the same. After every shot, they huddle up. You're not part of it. You're not part of it. And then if you have really good social skills, and I've watched other people join the group, yeah, you can get into it. But I remember I wheedled myself into one cop show's group at the huddle up where okay, cut. And then they all talk to one another. Hey, so how's your dog? I hear it was sick. You went to the veterinarian. Yeah. What was that about? Yeah. So, yeah, but you got a car. You got a new car. Yeah. Yeah. But I got one of those GPS things on it. This is a couple of years ago when GPS was new. Yeah, I got a
Yeah.
new GPS, Larry. What kind of car do you drive? Well, I got a GPS. Yeah, I got a GPS too. Oh, really? Yeah. Well, what is what kind? Where is it on your dashboard? No, I just got a
A
little one. You know,
Garmin.
where you buy and you
A
suction cup
Garmin.
it onto the windshield. Oh, and that was the last words spoke to me. They spoke to me, and I was slowly closed
Oh
out
my God.
of the group.
Wow. That's,
Yeah, man, but it happens to all of us. It's not like I'm singling one. No,
yeah,
they
yeah.
all do
All
it,
of them.
man. They
Yeah.
just grow rich together. They're a
Yep.
little family. And it's
Yep.
just embarrassing, man. I mean, to
Yeah.
view, to
They
watch.
lose who they
So,
are. They do.
what?
They end up losing who they are at their core when that happens.
Yeah, they're starting to talk about the cars, and because I pasted my thing on, that was the end of me.
Yeah, it's like, come on, really?
You suction cup your GPS to the
And
windshield?
all of a
What
sudden you're
the
less than.
fuck?
That's it. No more Larry, right? Fire him. That's it. You're getting fired now, Larry, for that one.
Holy
Bye-bye.
cow, man. But they all do it. They
Yeah,
all do it, man.
that's crazy.
So after a while, if I was on a sitcom, I'd probably do the same thing. I hope I wouldn't,
No,
but
I
you
don't think you
start to
would.
lose yourself. You start to see, oh, well, this is the average. Everybody is like us three or us
Yeah.
five.
They're all different but the same in their own weird ways in that
Oh
sense.
God. So anyway, with Larry David though, he was really cool, but he ended up that way too, because I auditioned then for
Curb Your
Curb
Enthusiasm.
Your Enthusiasm, and it was the same thing. The same thing. What the fuck? Oh, get him out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, what? But when I was on Seinfeld, he was really good because he dug where I was coming from. We have the same sense of humor, really. I mean, that's why I like Seinfeld. I mean, I watched it religiously. So,
Same.
so it was that's my humor, this, but he, so anyway, I was doing, what was I doing? Oh yeah. My backstory on a Tom Pepper who stole the raisins.
Oh.
I did a little backstory on, but as I read
Oh, so he did steal the raisins.
what?
Did he steal the raisins? Is that what you're
I
saying?
can't tell you, or I have to kill you.
Oh. Okay.
I've signed an NDA on that.
I believe it because of how fucked up Hollywood is. I believe it.
So my take, my instant take, not a backstory, my instant take on reading the part of Tom Pepper was he was a passive aggressive guy.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to
got
hear
that.
anything about any more dried fruit. But he held his anger in because he didn't punch Costanza. He just said, I don't want to hear anything about any dried fruit. He was holding it in. So I thought, okay, what would be my image? Who could I copy? Who is Buster Keaton? That's who he is. He refuses, he keeps it in, right? So I thought blank, nothing, do nothing. That was it. So that's what I was doing when I was doing that part. I was trying to be blank, except when it was just that little thing of, so I'm doing that scene where Costanza is talking to me, and I give that line about dried fruit. And I see that Larry David, he doesn't direct. He stands on the side. A guy named Tom directs. He stands on the side and watches, but he watches his stars. And what he does is he'll come in with a good line or a good thing. He's always thinking funny. How can I make this funnier? So he'll go, Tom, wait a second. I want to talk to, Jerry. And he'll go over to Jerry. He'll call him aside, which I think is really cool. He takes you aside. And he goes in, and then they'll do the scene again, and it's funnier. I mean, the guy just knows what's funny.
Yeah,
He's funny.
yeah.
So he does it to all of them. So I was getting jealous. I was like, hey, I'm a funny guy. He's not talking to me. Why doesn't he give me something to be funnier? And then one day it happens, on the fourth day of rehearsal.
Ooh.
And he goes, all right, Tom, I want to talk to Larry. Oh, he's going to talk to me. Oh, boy, he's going to give me something. So he pulls me aside and he goes, now, again, back in them days, I really had an attitude problem, an attitude challenge.
Mhm.
So he says, I know, and he leans into me with a little attitude, like he knows what's going on. He goes,
Oh yeah,
I know what you're trying to do, Larry. Now that the word trying got me. What do you mean trying? I'm a professional actor. That's what I'm thinking. I'm a professional actor. You're fucking trying. I got Buster Keaton down. What are you talking about? So anyway, I'm ready now. So I said, oh, and I go, really? What am I trying to do, Larry? And I just give him a little attitude back, and he just doesn't even bother with that. He just says, "You're trying to do nothing." And I was so blown away by that's exactly what I was trying to do. So he just pulled the rug right out from under me. No, I just wonder, whoa, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I am. I was just, yeah. Well, what about it? He goes, well, you're doing something. And he walked away. And I thought, that's how to direct. That's how to direct.
Wow.
That's the best piece of direction I
That
ever
must have
got.
been a great feeling too, because you look up. I'd imagine you looked up to him too at the time, or I'd imagine most people do.
I did one more take because okay, that's great. He helped me. I did one more take. I see him coming towards me, and I go, oh fuck, man, come on. But he was walking too fast. I thought he's not coming to me. He's going to somebody behind me. But as he walked by me, he just whispered very fast. He comes by, he says, "You're still doing something."
That is so great.
Yeah, I mean, he's so cool about it. That's how. And John Huston was the other one. So those are the top three, I guess. Is John Huston is without a doubt the best. He is the greatest.
Yeah.
I mean, because he is monumental. And he did the most monumental. I don't know. You got time to hear this? This one?
I got all the time left. I'm just
okay.
the Zoom just shut out after so long. That's the only thing
I have no idea.
Me neither. If it does though, I'll just recall you
fine.
or something. All right.
All right. Well, I just tell you this, and then that's it.
I'm enjoying this. Worst
Well,
case scenario, we could do another one.
I want to go right, but the importance to me, the importance to me of this is I'm writing a book about my life.
Thank you.
And 90 or at least 50%, if not more, is these confrontations back behind camera.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, the adventures of me making the film, not about making the film, but me talking to John Huston, talking to Larry David, all those things.
The footwork
so
leading up.
Excuse me?
The footwork leading up to what you're
and my life and how I got into it and what I do off camera and my girlfriend's during these times and my girlfriend during these times.
Good catch.
Well, both. But yeah, so I want to record these things because of the research I'm doing for the book.
Yes.
So
well, I'd love to be able to do more of these with you if time,
sure.
If it's something you'd be interested in.
But what if I just hit record again? Would that do anything?
Yeah, it should be recording the whole time. This should have been recording the whole time.
All right. Well, anyway, so with John Huston, which is such an interesting thing about directors, and again, I love Bryan Cranston and all the other, and Aaron Paul is really a cool actor. He's getting a little one note, but intensity. We need intensity. Call Paul. Just. But John Huston is okay, and Don Siegel. So John Huston, the first thing that I do when I go to any set, whether it's a sitcom or a big time movie or whatever, I go to the costume. I say, you report to the AD. You say, hi, I'm Larry Hankin. I'm here for blah blah blah. I'm doing the character, whatever. And they go, oh, all right, your dressing room's that way. And I say, is my costume in my dressing room? And he'll either say no or yes. If he says yes, then I go to my dressing room. If he says no, I go to the costume department. I want to see my costume first. One, because if I catch it in time, like if I go to the costume room, they haven't put it in my costume yet, into my room yet, I can get a chance to maybe pick and choose. Because generally what they have is the costumes of the character.
Gotcha.
And they have choices. And then when it's time for them to put the costume into your dressing room, the costume designer comes in and chooses the exact one she wants for this scene, puts it in your dressing room, and then there's no change. You can't, that's it. But if you can get there, you can go to the costume designer and say, hey, can I wear this instead of this? Sometimes they'll say, yeah. So I always want to go there. So that's what I did for Annie, the movie Annie, directed by John Huston. He liked me even from the audition. It was a good audition. He stuck up for me, not the casting director who pulled. I had hair down to here when I auditioned,
wow.
and I was going to be a dog catcher.
All right.
So and this is 1930s, so I had
Yeah.
to have cut my hair short, 30s.
Wow.
So I had hair down here. So she gets behind me and she pulls my hair back into a ponytail and lifts it up. So he goes, what are you doing? What are you doing? And she says, oh, I'm pulling the hair back so you see what it'll look like with a haircut. He says, I'm a director. I have imagination. Don't touch my actors, please. I thought, oh, he's sticking up for me. That's a cool director, man.
That's great. That is.
And yeah, so that was really good. So anyway, I go to the costume thing, and now the costume designer's assistant is there, which is a very anal retentive gentleman. And he goes, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm looking through my costume. I'm playing the dog catcher. I'm just looking at my costumes. He goes, you can't be here. I go, yeah, I know. I asked the costume designer. She's down there. I asked for permission. I didn't sneak in here. He says, well, you shouldn't be here. Please leave. I said, well, I just want to pick out my costume. He said, there is no costume. There's only one costume for you, and I have it. I said, oh, could I see it? And he's really,
rude,
giving me attitude,
Yeah.
And I'm, with John Huston, I don't want to cause any trouble. So he goes, well, here it is. And he hands me this folded piece of what looks like this color. You see this color?
Yeah.
I always have blocks of woods hanging around.
Apparently.
Wood. So it's this color, tan. But it's like a garage mechanic's costume, which is right for a dog catcher, but it's tan. So okay, that's cool. But it looks like a square of cardboard. What it is he washed it thoroughly. It's totally clean. And then he folded it assiduously, perfectly into a square and starched it. Or he starched it first and then folded it. So now it's a starched piece of tan cardboard, fully starched. And I go, and he hands it to me, this 14 by 14 inch starched piece of cardboard. And I'm peeling it up. I remember my father's white shirts used to be starched collars, starched white shirts when I was a little kid. And I used to love to peel it up, I love to, it's, okay, so I'm doing that. And I said, I can't wear this. He goes, why not? I said, well, because it's starched, it's clean. I mean, I'm a dog catcher in 1930 in Lower Manhattan. Are you kidding? I've carried dogs around. This has got to be filthy.
Yes.
And it's starched. How can I even put this on? It'll be creased. I'm not wearing this. He goes, yes, you are. And I go, no, I'm not. I'm not wearing this. You have no idea what this character. I'm laying out the law to him.
You're right, though. You're right. You're right about the character.
I am fucking so right. Okay, you're going with me on my next audition. Okay, so
Gladly.
So I said, no, I'm not wearing it. No. So he takes it back from me. He says, all right, we're going to go see Mr. Huston. I say, fine. Let's go see Mr. Huston. Fine. So we march outside. We're on location now at some, I don't know, college or something. And, or maybe we're on the set. Maybe it's in Universal Studios. I don't know, but we're outside and it had rained the night before, but it's a sunny day, but there's puddles all around. We can walk, places that are dry. We walk and there's John Huston and he's watching his rushes for the day, sitting in his director's chair. He's watching the rushes on his TV screen, very wrapped into it. Mr. Huston, he says, can we, he says, yes, can I help you? Oh, hello, Larry. So he remembered me from the audition. That's cool. My first day on the set. Oh, hello, Larry. What seems to be the problem? And he's all friendly,
Yeah.
And I says, this gentleman, he points to me, this gentleman will not put this on. And the guy says, is that right, Larry? I go, yeah, I'm not going to put that on. Really? Why not? It's the way it starts. It's all clean. I'm a dog catcher. I mean, how can I wear this? That's ridiculous. I'm not putting that on. So then the guy's holding it. So he says, John Houston says, would you please give me that? So the guy gives him the thing. So John Houston gets up, and as he's getting up, he's unfolding it. And he gets it all, but it's still stuck together. It's
yeah.
Well, like a cutout now.
Yeah.
And he holds it up, and he holds it up, and he goes to the biggest puddle that's the nearest biggest puddle. He walks into it with his shoes, walks into the middle of the puddle with his shoes on, and he drops it into the puddle and walks on it. And then he picks it up, dripping wet, holds it out. He walks over to the costume designer's assistant. He hands it to him, and he says, dry this out and put it on this actor, please. Thank you, Larry. And he turns back to his thing. That's a cool guy.
That is a cool guy. And that's a smart director. And that's it's smart for you, too, because someone like me or smarter than myself is going to watch that, and they're going to pick that apart. And people look for things to pick apart. I mean, I don't need to explain to you. You know how people are.
I would do it all the time, man. Oh, there's the microphone up there. Look at there. I can see the tip of it.
Yeah, so it's good that you pay attention to detail, and that is going to show when you start directing your own films and doing your own thing.
Oh yeah, man!
All
attention
that is
to detail, man.
Yes, that is going to show. The detail is going to show.
And still, I skip over. I don't pay enough attention, which is my
can't catch
ADHD
everything.
and no, it's ADHD and dyslexia. I mean, I have a learning disability that I cope with. I mean, I there's a way around it.
Yeah,
sort of, but I mean, no, that the attention. The OCD and the ADHD fight each other because the OCD thing is the ridiculous focus on just one thing over and over again. But the OCD, the
ADHD keeps you moving.
The ADHD part keeps me switching focus.
Yes.
So I get completely focused on a lot of different things. It's not, what do you call it when you do a lot of tasking?
Multitasking.
It's not multitasking, it's singular tasking. I don't do all of them at once.
No,
I just don't stay on one thing. I just keep going around.
Well, you seem to be doing pretty good though, honestly.
Yeah.
So keep it up. But before we wrap it up, not that I even want to, because I know you want to get back.
I got to get to writing.
Yeah, but can we give you anything? Another plug-in? Like, let's talk about just.
Well, the real LarryHankin.com. Just keep on going back there because we're loading it up. It's kind of like in the beta frame now. I mean, most of it, 90% of it is up.
Okay.
So you can see the pictures, you can see the videos.
And I'll share it in the description as well. Like I'll put it in the videos.
And also, look out for the Larry Hankin movie, written by Larry Hankin. I may be in it too. I'll see if I have enough time. Because if I do, there's only one part I can do, and it's kind of a big part. And I don't want to be rewriting and rehearsing at the same time.
Creating more work. I got you.
Yeah, it's just too much. The second one, then eventually I'd like to direct myself in something that I wrote. But okay, that's the only two.
Yeah, well, that's great. Seriously, that's great. And it was a pleasure to talk with you. Like I said, I've seen you on a lot of stuff, and this is like a little mini dream come true for myself. So I truly appreciate your time, Larry. I can't explain it enough.
Thank you very much.
So, thank you.
Okay, now one last thing. How do I get to look at the recording that I just made?
Okay, so I'd imagine, all right, I'm going to hit stop record right now.